Now, all the candidates will have 3 minutes, starting with Kathleen, and going to Abel, and then going to Ron, and then Jim. In 3 minutes, and you've been very parsimonious with your words this evening, so you can be a little less parsimonious than that if you like. This is your summary statement time. Tell the voters why they should vote for you. 3 minutes or less. Kathleen.
Well, this is, I guess this is the crux of the whole interview right here. Everybody's got a lot of history, especially somebody my age. I'll talk about my Blue Hill experience. I graduated from GSA in 1969 at the top of my class. In the 70s, I worked in town hall for what is now LIHEAP, taking energy assistance applications. My office was a desk in the common room downstairs, working with Gordon and Sarah every day. That was before all the petitions were built. And I took people's applications in an open room. Very confidential information was discussed right out in front of everybody. In the late 80s, in the mid-80s, I moved to Blue Hill. And in the 87 or 88, I guess it was, I was elected and took over as treasurer for the town of Blue Hill for Harold Parker, who had done it for 50 years, pretty much the same way it has always been done. And of course, being the 80s, and being the kind of person I was, I took that job and wrote some programs in BASIC to automate some of the functions that were part of the treasurer's job. Those were the receipt process and the check writing process. And I thought that was quite a big improvement for the town. At that decade, there was successfully passed the first comprehensive plan of the town of Blue Hill. In the 90s, Vaughn was instrumental in getting me on the planning board. It's all your fault. He stopped me in the street one day and he says, geez, I think this is a good place for you. And he helped me get my nomination papers passed through. And I was elected. And I feel like it continues my job in the town of Blue Hill. Brought me back into town hall. They gave me a key so that I could get people into the office and we could have our meetings. I think this key probably would still work. It's in the 2000s, would you call them 20s, 2010, 2000s? The next decade, my turn on the budget committee. The budget committee was where I thought I would be the most useful. I might use my professional skills, but it got really boring. Sorry. And I thought, well, what's next? And for what I was thinking next would be select position, and I'm thinking, I don't want to do that. But maybe, just maybe I do. Because if I don't, I stop working for the town of Blue Hill and I can't come and I can't be part of this process the way I think I should be as part of the town service. It's not down yet, is it?
Yes, it is.
Well, I told Jim in August last year that I would probably run against him because it was my time to come to town as a select person. And we were going to be I was going to run against him. But things evolved, and the week after that, we lost two of the most very important people in the town. And I had to reconsider which position I'd run for, but I still decided it was the right decision for me.
Okay. Randy.
I went to school for civil engineering, did a lot of surveying, land surveying, always worked around Blue Hill area. It's a great place to grow up children and a great school. I was road commissioner in the town of Blue Hill from 92 92 to 98. And, you know, to make a living in the area, you have to put many hats on. I get up in the morning, put a different hat on every day, seems running the backhoe, or a plow truck, or caretaking someone's property. I think I have some stuff I could add to the town of Blue Hill as far as being a selectman, through the experience I've had. It's just another hat that I want to put on my head, I guess, and see what I can do. I'm a quick learner. I will pick up stuff quick, and got some good guys to pick it up from. So that's about it. I'd love to work with the people of Blue Hill and see what happens. Thank you.
When I first moved to Blue Hill, I wasn't a lawyer, and I actually worked as a cook for a number of years. And when I did that, I saw that if I wanted to live here, I needed to figure out how to make a living, because there really wasn't much here to make a living with that were employing people. And so I went back to law school, and I got through with law school, and then it was the early 80s, and then I cooked again for a while. Because you have to make a living if you want to live here. And that's, I think, part of why I'm so concerned about the downtown and the town and the opportunities for employment and making it a vibrant town. So that has really informed my life here in a big way. And not only from that experience, but from being a lawyer in a small town, you really get to know everybody from a real cross-section of the population. You really know everybody from every part of the town. You don't know everyone, but you certainly know every type. And I think that's been something also that really made me feel like I can be helpful in this town, because I have worked with many different people with many different opinions and many different agendas, and successfully. So I think that's something I really bring along to it. I have worked, although I've not been involved in town government, I have worked with a lot of nonprofits on the peninsula through giving them free legal work. But I have, as Faith said, I say it proudly, I've spent 2 decades each with Blue Hill Public Library and Blue Hill Heritage Trust, which to me are organizations that have brought to this peninsula just amazing opportunities for recreation, for education, culture, just entertainment. And it's a great thing that both of those organizations have done. I'm very proud of it. I've been president of both of them, and I'm president of the library now. I did say I have a full-time job, and it's true, I'm not giving that up. But I understand there's some concern that I have the time to do this. Well, I am going to give up being president of the library in order to make time to do this if I am elected. And I will say, and it's that old saying, if you have something to do and you want somebody to do something, ask the busy person to do it. Because they know how to manage their time and they know how to prioritize and get things done. Thank you.
When I first moved here, I also needed to work, and my first job was waitressing at the Seagull. Yes. So that was a long time ago. And so then I also figured out I needed to make more money than that. I also went back to school and came back here. And I actually started my own practice here first before I started working at the hospital. And it's hard work. It's hard work working here. And I say my children would like to come back here and live here. And so far, one of them has managed to get back here and make a living here. And the rest would like to live here, but it's hard. And we want to create more vital economic opportunities here. We need to increase our tax base, our revenue sources. And that's why I mentioned downtown before. To have a lively and attractive downtown that attracts businesses, will increase our tax base and our revenue sources and make more jobs. And that's what we need to have going on here. There were some other things I wanted to say. I also have served on some nonprofit boards. I've served on a lot of committees. As I said, I know how to read a financial report. I do know how to listen. Part of my job as a midwife nurse practitioner certainly is listening and hearing what people want and what they need. And again, that has brought me into contact with many, many different kinds of people from this town, all the way across the board. And I've enjoyed that, and I feel that I know a lot of different people in this town. And I also I do know how to work with people, and I think that's important too. Let's see. Yes. The things that I would like to see for this town, I know that I have some ideas of what I'd like to see, but I am more interested in finding out what the townspeople want as well and getting that feedback. But certainly one of the things I would like to see is strong schools that are teaching our children how to grow up and take care of themselves and be able to get employment and to be healthy and to be responsible members of our community. And our schools need that money and that support from this town. I would like, as I said, to see a downtown that is lively, and we have some thoughts about what's going to be happening on South Street and the Mines Road and North Blue Hill and South Blue Hill and everything that goes with this town. I would like to respect people's concerns about protecting their property values. I think that any planning that we do has to take that into account. How am I doing over here? My other biggie, the internet and electric power. How can we attract businesses and how can we access the Packet website if we don't have the internet? So I'm really concerned about getting that internet out there for people, getting that access, and also making sure that everybody has consistent electric power, which I do not.
I think question 3 made me think of many things, and we was limited to answering one question. And the downtown is the thing I hear about the most. And I walked around downtown when I was probably too young to be there on my own. And you could go buy a pair of jeans and some work boots, and you could go get an ice cream across the street, and it all worked. There was, I don't know how fewer people there were here, population-wise, than I could check. Packing didn't seem to be the issue that it is now. I know everybody wants something to happen in town, but how are we going to make a business work in town if they can't afford to pay the rent on the properties and they can't get enough parking spaces available to move enough people through the business to make a living? This town is not set up at this point to make a living in downtown. That's why the growth tends to expand out onto Mines Road and South Street and wherever it may happen to go. I'd love to see it work. I think it's going to take a lot of people to figure out who do we want the downtown to appease to? Do we want something for all the tourists when they come and it's going to be quiet all winter? There's not a lot of people here in winter to support businesses which might fit in the downtown. You know, hopefully we can make something happen, because it saddens me to see it all empty. You know, we've got many vacant spaces now. I respect all of the other candidates. I'm sorry to say that I was native and born here, but I just can't deny it. You're all just as welcome here as I am. And I think with my history in the town, I've seen lots and lots of changes. And I know it's all got to go somewhere. We've got to have some economic growth for the students to be able to come, the families to come here, so we've got students to go to our schools. It's a big, big piece of work. And I think with my business and the organization skills that I've showed and getting it to where it is at this point allows me the expertise to try to work with everybody like I have created the business and figure out what possible methods might work in all of these things. And when the papers came out, I went to Jim too. and said, I think I'd look forward to working with you, Jim. I think I'd be a good fit in between Jim and John, and if that's the way the vote turns out, I really look forward to doing everything in everybody's best interest.
Still got a little bit of time.
Thank you.
Ron, you're up. I'm up. You're up, man. 3 minutes.
You can have my other half a minute.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, okay. With all due respect to Ron, I appreciate him working between Jim and John, but actually, it's going to be John and Ron. Okay? Now, here's the reason, okay? When I moved to this town, I saw a lot of possibilities. But since I've been here, none of these possibilities have really been approached and been tackled. And I've heard many people here tonight talk about the very things that I am trained in, I do consulting in, I'm a professional in. Helping a downtown, bring businesses in, grow a downtown, market a downtown, look at how a downtown competes, help businesses improve their performance. This is my sweet spot. So what you get with a candidate like me is something completely different. You get somebody with all of the goods rolled in to face the problems that you're facing right now. I have that sort of experience. And in all due respect to my opponent, my motto is we have to look at, for example, do you want more of the same, or is it time for change? Because I think when we look at the demographics and the changes that have taken place in Blue Hill that have been talked about over and over, I think it's time for a different perspective. Over the past 20 years, I have not seen Blue Hill change. In fact, it has gone downward. I remember Ronald Reagan saying once, "Were you better off 40 years ago?" Well, I think, were you better off 20 years ago? And that's the sort of issue we have to look at, because we need a type of management as a selectman that is leadership. Leadership is about understanding problems and taking initiative. And what I think is, for example, I've taken the time to explain all of my views and put it in writing so everybody can see exactly what I think. And I think one of the 3 pillars that I think are necessary for this town to move forward is we need, and if you read this, more responsive, this is talking about selectmen and a town government, practical government, and most importantly, transparent. This is not the CIA. We don't need to be hiding everything. We need to talk about all of these issues. We talk nice about getting these issues out to the people. Well, let's get a lot more out to the people and get the people involved. Several people had some great ideas about enlisting more and more people in the town. That's a tough thing to do, but it's a necessary thing to do. But it begins with the selectmen actually coming up with ideas. Everybody here has a job. Part of their leadership responsibility is, in fact, to come up with some ideas, float them to the people. It isn't a passive role, it's a proactive role. And that's the role I propose to play. And I appreciate everybody showing up and taking a positive step in becoming an informed electorate. Thank you, and please vote. Whoever you vote for, even if you want to put Vaughn between Jim and John, that's good. Just vote. Thank you.
3 shots. Last word. Please use the mic.
Well, I've learned that the characteristics that stand up in my mind that a selectman should have would be patience, tenacity, and commitment. I have those characteristics, and I think I demonstrate them every day that I come into the town office and when I'm on the streets and working here in the town with all of you. I can't say, my experience, obviously I have experience on the job, but it's also the accomplishments that I want to point out. I've had the gift of working with colleagues, Gordon Emerson, John Bannister, Dwayne Gray, 3 fine people who have taught me a lot, along with the people I mentioned earlier who served in our various offices, and then Etta, Janet, Ann, Burnett now. You know, these are people who, when you walk into the town office, have served me very well, taught me very well, and I want to take what I've been taught and carry it to the next step. In terms of the accomplishments, so we talked a lot about economic development. Many of the infrastructure improvements that we've made, we've gone to various sources for grants, and we paid for a number of them ourselves. And one thing you need to attract people to this area, you need strong schools, you need a good infrastructure, you also need to open up your economy. We have worked very hard as a team to make these things happen. So you see in the past years the improvement, the South Blue Hill Wharf came from the improvement came from a ship's grant. We used town money to improve the town wharf. We've used IF&W money to pay for right-of-way to Billings Pond. We also took ship CDBG money to clean up the water around the town park to avoid overboard discharges. These have been ongoing efforts that come out of the selectmen's office. They don't come from some manna from heaven. And so one of my roles I always look at is kind of being the closer. I had all this bureaucratic experience, so I worked with these agencies. Our sewer is the great example. That's probably one of our largest projects. If you don't have a good sewer system, you're not going to attract businesses. You're not going to be able to have development that, whether it's positive or negative, you're just not going to have development. You need these things to happen. Our team of selectmen have always been sensitive to that and have continued to seek out sources for that kind of building. I think one of the things that I hear when the people come to the office, they talk about our schools. They're very happy to come to Blue Hill because of our school. And so I think we need to, when we go to town meeting, look at that budget and see what we can do to support it. And we know that there are funds that, some funding challenge. That's really good. Nat has set this up like the brackets of the March Madness. I don't even know how this works. It's a wonderful job. So anyway, I will close with that way. I too want to thank all of you for coming and all of the candidates. It's refreshing to see so much interest in this, and I hope that goes forward. And again, thank you.
Okay, well that concludes our candidate forum for the Blue Hills Selectmen positions for 2013. I urge you, a few remarks here, but I urge you, when we're done here, to enjoy some of the snacks and coffee and things we have there and mingle with the candidates. Including, we wish to thank the town of Blue Hill, especially Etta Perkins and Nat Barrows, who have really helped us get this all together and made it possible. And their patience after the snowstorm to come back again, and here we are. Thanks and appreciation go to the Ministry Theater for moving their sets all around twice to give us the stage room to assemble this gathering here this evening, and to the Ministry Theater sound tech upstairs, Frank John, for setting up this wonderful microphone system to make it possible for us to hear each other. Now, remember to vote Friday, April 5th, right here. The polls will open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the town hall here. And that's when these people's names will be on a piece of paper that you put a check in, and who you wish to serve for your town for the next 2 or 3 years. The town meeting is the following day. That's to discuss and vote on the warrant articles, which is the legislative body of the town that raises the money to fund the town and the school. That will be Saturday at 9 o'clock, starting at 9 in the consolidated school. But you know, this whole evening would have been possible without these people. And these people who care so much about their communities, we've heard this evening, and what the future for the town will be. And they've come forward to take a risk and run for public office. And we must all appreciate, well, maybe must is strong. Just let us enjoy and appreciate the energy and the thoughts and the care that these 7 individuals are putting into this community and what they hope to see for the future. With that, let's thank them all.